So let's talk about the significance of selecting beneficiaries. Let's talk about naming beneficiaries. So there are certain assets and accounts that allow you to name individuals or entities like trust, charitable organizations. Think of everything from your church to scouts to a local, just all kinds of different charities that are out there. Who is it that is going to receive the funds upon your passing? And you have the right to name these beneficiaries and put them out there. And this is really pretty flexible. And I want to talk about why it is important to name these people. We want to make sure that we are protecting the people that we love. Okay. So when you are naming your beneficiaries, we're going to make sure that you're leaving the money to the people that you love and that you support. And these people may change over time. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, but naming the beneficiaries is who's going to receive these assets, these funds, and you want to make sure that it's going to the correct people. Also, naming the beneficiaries can help expedite the distribution of these assets upon your passing. In other words, they don't go through a probated will process. They go around the will process. This can also help reduce your legal, accounting, and other fees that you may be associated with probating a will. So the nice part is this is an extremely efficient way to pass along assets without going through the whole portion of giving through the will. Also, it provides a great deal of flexibility because you can change these beneficiaries typically very easily. If you have, and one of the things I really want to make sure that we're focused on today, I'm largely talking today about retirement accounts. You may have a pension at work, like a lot of teachers that we have, or TRS. There are other private pensions through work, but there are also the 401ks, the 403bs, IRAs. All of these accounts have beneficiaries that you name when you open up the account, and they can be changed very easily. Laura introduced our back office group, and they help us a great deal that when a client needs to make a change to the beneficiary, it's literally sending this one-page document, having it filled out, signed, and then we're getting it over to the custodian. So there's a great deal of flexibility prior to your death. But once obviously you pass, then these things are locked in. Also, it can help you managing with the tax consequences of your estate. There are tax advantages. There are things Laura mentioned with the conversion from traditional IRAs to Roths. There are some tax planning things to be done, and that can also include within who you're naming as beneficiaries. And then one last item of why it's important. Wills are publicly probated. Okay, they go through a probate judge, and this becomes a matter of public record. And the nice part is if you go and pass assets through beneficiaries, that is a private transaction and it is not public. So let's talk about the difference between primary versus contingent beneficiaries. Okay. The primary is the first in line, primary, el numero uno. Okay. Typically, it's a spouse. The primary beneficiary in a married relationship is the spouse. In fact, in Texas, if the spouse is not the primary, that person must sign off and agree that someone else is named the primary. Okay. But you can also name somebody else with that agreement. Also, if you're not married and you want to name two, and I was giving this example, if you have if my primary beneficiaries were my two brothers, okay, I can leave them as primary beneficiaries and I can leave 50-50 to both, okay? Let's say something happens to both of them, then it rolls to what we call the contingent beneficiary. And you can name secondary, third, fourth, fifth, as many contingency beneficiaries as you want, okay? But let's say for this example that my two brothers pass and I've got three nieces and nephews that I name as the contingency beneficiary. I can name them a third and a third and a third. Or I could do something like I could also name a fourth contingency beneficiary, such as a charity that I want to leave money to, each getting 25%. So both the primary and contingent designations can be left to multiple beneficiaries, and they can also be left various amounts, either dollar amounts or percentage amounts. Okay. So that is the difference between the primary and contingent beneficiaries. So why is it important to update and review these things? And I mentioned at the very top of this, circumstances change for a variety of reasons to who you need to have as your beneficiaries. For example, I have a son that's about to get married this coming weekend, and he's going to need to update his beneficiaries so that his wife is now put primary on the beneficiaries. You also have children that are born or grandchildren, and you want to name these folks and update them as they come along. You also have people that pass. And so people that have passed, we need to find out, you need to take a look, remove those folks, and then put somebody else that is now eligible to receive that. Also, we go through divorce, go through separations and all kinds of different things. So it's very, very important to make sure that your beneficiaries are updated. One of the things that we saw at the seminar was just how many times people had not updated their beneficiaries and the money was left to unintended recipients, people that really had no interest, or the person passing along had no intention of giving that money to that person, but because they did not update their beneficiaries, the money went to the wrong person. Also, you want to make sure that you're keeping these fresh because custodians can lose things. You have custodians that are being bought and sold. In other words, who's holding your IRA, who's holding your 401k. When these things get transferred over, it's not always a smooth transition, and they may not be able to find your beneficiary information. So it is important to make sure that these things are reviewed consistently to make sure that the correct beneficiaries are there. Again, I had also mentioned that it helps to sell your estate quickly, easily, privately, by maintaining the proper beneficiaries. And finally, we've really spoken really about your retirement accounts, but we want to really emphasize all of these accounts, whether it's your banking accounts, insurance policies, whatever questions that you may have, we can help. We're here to be a resource. I always like to tell folks when we know the answer, we give the answer. If we don't know the answer, we'll tell you we don't know the answer, and then we'll go figure it out. The caveat I give is we are not tax advisors, we're not attorneys, but we help our clients understand the questions that they need to go get answered. Sometimes it's by these other professionals.